Kate Winslet chose a huge pool of talent for her directorial debut Goodbye June, which is now available on Netflix. Is this family drama set at Christmas time gonna be a new favorite? When an unexpected turn in their mother's health thrusts 4 adult siblings and their exasperating father into chaos, they navigate messy family dynamics in the face of potential loss. But their quick-witted mother, June, orchestrates her decline on her own terms. Okay, are you ready for this cast? We got Helen Mirren, Kate Winslet, Andrea Riseborough, Toni Collette, Stephen Merchant, Jeremy Swift, Johnny Flynn, and Timothy Spall. This is a dysfunctional family drama that then centers around some grief and strife. And while that's probably not a huge selling point, especially around the holidays, there's also some growth, forgiveness, humor, and tender love that we get to see. The premise is simple. Mom is sick and all her estranged kids, or at least they quarrel a ton, they come to her bedside in hopes of spending whatever time left they can with her. Story itself, it's not terribly novel or fresh. The sick or dying family member becoming the catalyst for reconciliation, But what does stand out in this movie is the mix of heart-wrenching moments that are mixed with some incredibly sweet sequences. Each of the characters are fairly stereotypical if you were to dream up a mix of dysfunctional and arguing siblings. You have the ultra-responsible one who feels that they must take on all responsibilities because the rest of the group is just ill-equipped. There's the one who's off in La La Land with their uber-holistic approaches to everything, which puts them in constant denial of realistic outcomes. Then there's the uptight and regimented child, who is consistently the odd one out because they can be so uptight and anal about every single detail. Then there's the perceived slacker child, aimless, and without ambition, still living with their parents despite being firmly an adult. Even the father figure, one who's so grieved that he's in denial and does his best to submerge himself in normal routines so he doesn't become overwhelmed at this impending loss of his spouse. Now, there's nothing wrong with having these stereotypical character types, but it is one more notch towards we've seen this all before. Now, despite this, each of the actors fully dives into their respective personalities to create some expressive characters. And because this is Winslet's directorial debut, I want to focus a bit on her actual direction and then storytelling choices. Now, much of what we watch, it's patiently shown. When I say that, I'm talking about allowing the camera to just sit with a moment so that we can feel the emotions that are being displayed. Now, sometimes it is a bit uncomfortable, but it's never squirm-inducing. The scenes like this aren't intrusive in a way that makes us feel like we're barging in on some private moments, but instead they're held just long enough so that we become part of the narrative before the story decides to change perspectives. There are a couple of curious choices that I'm not sure totally fit, even though I do understand the feel that Winslet was going for. Now, at one point, the camera, it becomes the perspective of Helen Mirren's character as her kids and grandkids come into her hospital room. So the camera then moves like her head. This was a bit jarring and strange, especially because we never see this perspective again. It was done twice within the scene, and then poof, it's just forgotten, and we only then get a third-person point of view from there on out. Now, some of the other choices involve editing. Some scenes, they just change abruptly, creating this sort of whiplash effect. And because the tone of the following sequence didn't really flow too well with what came before, it was just it didn't happen a bunch during the movie, but it was a bit sudden when it did. One of the greatest standouts within the story, though, is the performance from Fisayo Akinade. He plays a nurse named Angel. True to his name, this dude is spectacularly calm and compassionate, imparting all sorts of wisdom whenever he has a conversation with any member of the family. I appreciate that we get enough background development on him that all of his actions and motivations make sense and they're defined, rather than him just being some nondescript, caring healthcare worker. And while the other performances were great, he's the most memorable because of how fresh and genuine the character came across. Now, storytelling does feel a little long with its nearly 2-hour runtime, but because of the content and then the story impetus, it would feel almost callous to skimp on a lot of the interactions that allow us to watch the characters move through their own stages of grief. Now, overall, this is a decent first-time outing for Winslet as a director. I'm sure it's a huge advantage to be surrounded by such a talented cast so that it eases the effort. But the story is charmingly sweet with a touch of sadness, showcasing a relatable dynamic with some conflicting character personalities. While the writing is familiar and the characters are written to be stereotypical, Winslet elicits enjoyable performances that go beyond the common character design. Now, I'm not sure I'd watch this for the holidays, but if you're in the mood for melancholy with some humor and tears, you may want to give this one a go. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, no violence. I give Goodbye June 3 out of 5 couches. So are you looking forward to seeing anything in the last couple of weeks of the year? Now, I'm seeing Anaconda tonight, and then I'm looking forward to checking out Sentimental Value very soon. Let me know, though, what's on your list in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.